Welcome to Amplify Black Stories QuickTakes. In the African tradition of the griot, our storytellers share gems of wisdom for you to grow on. Sit back and be inspired.
So how did you become a-JAH-nay as a person, as a musician, as a mental health advocate? Give it to us.
Let's start with the music, because the mental health advocate piece is pretty new. Like I said, my parents are a little quirky. I grew up in a very non-traditional way, and I was really, really lucky to have parents that just supported every whim. Truly, it felt like anytime I was like, maybe I want to do this, they said go for it. So as a 9-year-old, I believe, I started acting, and I was working. I grew up in New Jersey. I was working in New York. I was doing theater. I was doing commercial work, and got into musical theater. I really loved that. Ended up going to a specific high school that focused on dramatic Shakespearean acting, and I was like, okay, I think the part that I liked about this was the music, not so much the theater. And I ended up, traveling around that time with my family, and I had an acoustic guitar. I just started writing music, and it was a form of connection for me because I felt really alone in that kind of teenage way. But then on top of that, I was in, Belize, in a village with 4 other houses and no one around for miles. The closest town was a 2-mile dirt road away, so things like that really forced me to learn how to communicate in a way that wasn't necessarily with other people, but with myself. And to have an outlet for that was to write music. So I started that, ended up moving to LA to come to a music school and to learn and really work on the craft of music because I had virtually no experience. And since then, I've just been developing and working with different bands and playing different shows, and I've been so lucky to work with really, really awesome musicians. And now I'm just reaching the point where I'm like, okay, this is the sound that I want to do, and that's why I'm releasing this EP of a few songs. And when it comes to mental health, I think going back to being that kind of lonely kid, I was very introspective, and I did a lot of journaling. That's one thing that my parents were very serious about. They were like, you're gonna write in a journal every day. And I hated it. I truly hated it so much. And then all of a sudden it was the only source of happiness for me. It just completely 180 shifted. And that turned into writing about how I'm feeling and my issues and, the human experience, really.
Okay, you've recently started an online magazine.
Yes.
So tell us about it and the reason why you started it.
Yeah, so I started Mental by accident. I woke up very frantically one day at 6 a.m. and realized that it had been a year since a very narrow miss with some suicidal feelings, and I felt so amazingly happy when I woke up. I was like, things are really good right now, and I could have missed all of this. I really thought I had reached the end of the road with no way out, which saying it now even feels so confusing to me because I have so much, and I am so lucky, and I have so many wonderful people in my life. But man, it's really one of those mental illness situations that can really trick you into being in a really tough spot. So I ended up scribbling out, actually in this notebook that's sitting here, some writing that was just about how I was feeling. And I went back to sleep, actually, at 6. I was like, I'm gonna go back to sleep. Woke up around 8 and then edited it, and I had this piece that I didn't know what to do with. I was like, I don't really want to post this on social media. I don't know what I want to do. And my partner was just like, hey, you should see what else you can put together and try to put it out as a project. So I reached out to some friends that I know, that I'm close with, that I thought would trust me with putting together something like this with their work in it. And I got really lucky. I feel like whenever anybody asks about it, I think I just say that I got really lucky. I had some amazing people in my corner. I had the ability to learn InDesign and teach myself how to put it together, and friends that are artists and friends that are actors and people that were willing to talk to me about therapy, something that people haven't talked about until very recently. I just want more people to be okay with saying what their trauma is and what they're working on, because it just makes you feel like you're less crazy and like not alone in your feeling.
I know exactly what you mean. I'm pretty sure a lot of our listeners can relate to your story. I just wish we had more time to discuss, because I know we could discuss so many more issues, but that's unfortunately all the time we have for today. But thank you, A'JAH-nay, for joining us and for sharing your story. On behalf of ABS, we wish you the best of luck and want to make sure that you keep creating. Thank you again.
For more information or to hear more from this artist, visit amplifyblackstories.org and become part of our community.